We're going to review the anatomy of the skeletal muscles, starting with the most superficial location, which is the epimysium out here, moving to the most microscopic level, which is the sarcomere down here. So the epimysium is the connective tissue sheath that covers an entire skeletal muscle out here on the outside, and the epimysium is a connective tissue that basically just blends into the tendon right here, which is going to be attaching this muscle to bone. If we cut open a skeletal muscle, you would see all of these little circles right here, and if we pull one of these circles out, it's actually a bundle of skeletal muscle cells, and this bundle is called a fascicle. And a fascicle is bundled by another connective tissue sheath called the perimysium. The fascicle is a bundle of skeletal muscle cells, like I just said, and if we pulled out one of those skeletal muscle cells, we would see that it also has a connective tissue sheath around it. And the connective tissue sheath around the skeletal muscle cell is right here, which is the endomysium. If we peel back the connective tissue layering, or endomysium of the skeletal muscle cell, there's going to be a plasma membrane, just like all cells have, and it's called the sarcolem. The individual skeletal muscle cell is completely full of protein fibers, which are called myofibrils. Myofibrils are made up of smaller protein fibers called, which are right here, myofilaments. Each of our myofibrils are surrounded by a few things. First off, there is the sarcoplasmic reticulum, which has a special conformation in a skeletal muscle cell. It surrounds and goes over the individual myofibrils. It looks like a sweater to me, all right? And the sarcoplasmic reticulum is what stores calcium ions. Calcium ions are needed for skeletal muscles to contract. Another unique structural thing is the transverse or T tubules. These are actually parts of the plasma membrane that come right into the cell, and they bring the electrical current or action potential right inside the cell for very fast, rapid contraction of cells based on the electrical signals that are going on or being sent throughout the plasma membrane. Here and here, okay, the myofibrils, which are the proteins that fill up the plasma membrane of a skeletal muscle cell so much that they push other organelles like the nucleus and the mitochondria right to the outside. The sarcomeres are made up of two smaller myofilaments, which are called actin and myosin, and the arrangement of them give rise to this structure called the sarcomere. And it's the actin and myosin filaments that actually contract to cause the entire skeletal muscle to contract. So the myofibrils are actually made up of smaller myofilaments, protein filaments called actin and myosin. The arrangement of actin and myosin make up the sarcomere right here. So the sarcomere runs from this area to this area. That's one sarcomere. So here's one sarcomere, and here's one sarcomere. They run from, if you look at this blue line right here, which is similar to right here, a sarcomere runs from one Z disc to another Z disc. So we have the arrangement of the actin and myosin filaments. Actin is attached to the Z disc, which is right here. This is the thin filament. Myosin runs along the middle here, okay? The dead center of a sarcomere, which would come down like this, is called the M line. There's an area right here where there's only myosin. There's no actin, and that is called the H zone. And when the contraction of the sarcomeres occurs, these myosin heads will be binding onto actin, and they pull them towards the H zone. So again, we have the M line, which is the center. There's an area right here where there's only actin filament, and that is called the I band, or the light band. There's an area from here to here where we have both actin and myosin filaments. So right here. And this is called the A band, or dark band. And this whole entire structure, this sarcomere, is what shortens or contracts and causes an entire skeletal muscle to contract.